Hi, pals. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of literary devices. So the very first we're going to be looking at is allegory. So what is allegory? Now, allegory is a literary device which is a narrative or story that deploys or uses symbols, characters, or events to pass across a deep message beyond what the surface holds. So when we talk about allegory, we're talking about using literary device as a potent or powerful tool to explain what is happening around us. So most times when we look at certain things happening around us, now the only way we could explain these things to people, or the only way we could explain these things to others, is by using certain stories that at the end of the day, such stories contain characters or contain things that are symbolic. So now we have a couple of allegory in different literary works. For example, The Animal Farm by George Orwell. Now, when we look at The Animal Farm by George Orwell, here certain set of animals, they usurp their owners, that is, overthrow their owners, and at the end of the day, the leader of these animals became corrupt, and and so on and so forth. So when you read this, you find that very story talks about the Russian Stalin stuff and so on and so forth. So that's that for Animal Farm. When you look at all those stories about animals overthrowing their owners and so on and so forth, you find that everything pointed at Russia. You understand, the rise of Stalin and so on. And also we have John Bunyan, the Pilgrims and Progress. Under John Bunyan's Pilgrims and Progress, you find out that that very book talked about, or still talks about, the various challenges, spiritual challenges every true Christian will pass through before they could get to their final destination, which is heaven. So right here, I have an example for you. This is my own work on allegory. Now the title is A Big Restaurant in West Africa. I know a big restaurant in West Africa which has the highest number of workers. This restaurant has all the best recipes one could imagine, and the best of dishes are served there. Unfortunately, all the workers in this biggest West African restaurant are malnourished and don't look like people working in Africa's biggest restaurant. Those who run the restaurant instead feed on all the food and leave the workers to scramble for oddments or remnants. So if you look at this short story with this title, A Big Restaurant in West Africa, you will find out that there is more message to this than meets the eyes. This is not just a story about a restaurant somewhere in Africa. It's a story about some set of powers running a nation. So that's just that about allegory. So under allegory, we are talking about events happening around us. So in order for us to explain this event to people, we could use different characters, we could use places, we could use different things, to represent these different figures running events happening around our environment. So that's that for allegory. So the next one we're going to be looking at right now, the next literary work is anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism. Now this is quite a long one, but it's a very interesting literary device. Now this is a literary device that attributes or gives human characters to either animals or other non-human characters. So when we talk about anthropomorphism, we are talking about giving those characters that only humans carry out, giving them to animals, or giving them to other things that are not animals. They are not animals, and also they are not humans. So look at this example: the cunning tortoise and the birds. Now we have millions and thousands of examples, out there on anthropomorphism. We have different literary works, that talk about the tortoise being smart, being cunning, the lion being the king of the animal kingdom, and so on and so forth. So if you look at this, the cunning tortoise and the birds, we have there is this literary work, this book I read on the tortoise being cunning. The tortoise, went to the heavens for a given marriage, a marriage session. Now the tortoise borrowed one feather, that's a feather from all the birds that went with it. So by the time the tortoise got there, the tortoise told them that it would bear the name all of you. So in the process, the tortoise ate all the food that was served to all of you. So after the whole event, the animals, the birds precisely, got angry for the fact that the tortoise did not handle them well, did not treat them properly or well at his wedding. So they took back their feathers and they all returned to earth. So the tortoise was stranded in heaven and had to jump down from heaven to earth. So in the process, his shell got cracked, and that's the reason the tortoise has a cracked shell. So that's just an example. But when you look at it, it's almost impossible for tortoise or other kinds of animal to go to a place for wedding, for a wedding procession or something. So that's a perfect example of anthropomorphism, giving human attributes to animals or things that are not humans. So at this very point in time, I would love you to tell me if you know the very restaurant you're talking about in this very story. I want you to tell me what that restaurant is. Maybe if the restaurant is a human being, if the restaurant is a country, whatever the restaurant is, tell me in the comment section. And also you could give me your own example on this very stuff, on allegory, and also on anthropomorphism. So at this very point in time, we'll be drawing the content of today's exposition. So if you found this resourceful, please subscribe to this very channel and share this exposition. Thanks. See you in the next exposition.